um, and we were talking about like how do you find food in the Bronx? The Bronx is one of the boroughs where I work, and I was just it's so much cheaper, especially fresh produce in the Bronx than it is in Brooklyn where I live. Um, and I think one of the best takeaways is people always ask me, "What do you eat? How do you get your protein?" I'm also a trainer. I'm a physical trainer. I teach boot camp classes twice a week. I'm a dancer. I'm dancing 4 days a week. So I need a lot of very active. I need a lot of protein if I want to stay fit and keep a certain image for my clients. So people are always asking me, "What do you eat?" And I say, I basically eat things that just taste really good to me. Basic things. Rice or quinoa, beans, kale, broccoli, um, just like regular like things that you could find anywhere. It's not complicated to find. Sweet potatoes, and I don't even get too fancy with it. Even though I'm a chef, when I'm cooking for myself, I just make it taste really good. Rice and beans is really easy to make. Sauteing some broccoli, sauteing some kale, putting in the oven, roasting, roasting some Brussels sprouts. These things are really easy to make. You just cut it, you put some olive oil, salt, and pepper, stick it in the oven. It's very easy, and it just like doesn't even occur to people like, oh wow, I made some potatoes at the brunch on Saturday. Do you know how many people walked up to me and they're like, "What did you put in in these potatoes?" This is what I said. I cut it up, olive oil, salt, and pepper. They were like, "What?" I'm like, "Yes, that's how easy it is because real food tastes real good. It does." What do you snack on? Carrots, Lara bars, nuts, sunflower seeds. Just very easy things that you can get from anywhere, from any market, any grocery store that's vegan. And if possible, try to get it organic. But these things are very easy to prepare and very easy to make and very easy to take with you. And it doesn't have to be, I think people are looking for like, well, what about I need like the fake hot dogs and the fake chicken nuggets and the fake, and it's just like, if you're going to eat all that stuff, it's the same thing as eating processed food that has meat in it. You don't have to eat that stuff. It's helpful if you're beginning to be vegan and you don't know what to do. But really, anybody, vegan or not, just eat real food from the outside the aisles. That's it. That's the easiest thing that I can tell people. And that's what I tell my clients too, whether they're vegan or not. Just eat real
You know
food.
what's really, yeah, uh, talking about the universe and everything coming twice, we had aesthetic chef, and I was just like, what's your body fat? Because I want to get abs and blah blah blah. And I feel like that's part of my place, but that's another episode. But anyway, this guy, his zone is he's super fit. He does calisthenics. He does like all types of crazy stuff with his body, like pull ups like crazy. He's like 10% body fat, and we're like, what do you eat? What do you eat before you work out? He's
Wow.
like juice. He's like, I have a juice. He's like, I have sweet potato and I don't season it because I really want to taste it. I had
Yeah.
hot pot, like yeah, I had like hot pot because I'm from super far east on Long Island. I had hot pot and it was just Asians that eat a lot of greens and mushrooms and tofu and everything else. So I had some squash and it tasted so good. I was like raving about it, like in a vegetable broth. I was
Yeah.
going insane, and it's just like this is plain, but it tastes so good. All these things, especially when grown right, will taste really good. Like you have your bananas and you can make ice cream out of that. Like I rave about that too. So
Yeah,
when you say cook like
exactly.
plain stuff in salt and pepper, it's bringing out the flavor of the food. And a lot of the times we have to readjust our taste buds to foods being the way the way they are without the uh excess stuff.
Exactly. There have
So
been
it's
dishes
really
I
dope that
made.
you said that.
Yeah, people will be like, "What'd you do?" I said, "I literally took a squash, I blended it, and I put it on top of the noodles. Like that's all I did. But it tastes like cheese." I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't. All I did. I don't know what else to tell you. That's
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
you know.
And when you say I don't have the time, you can put all that stuff in the oven by itself. can actually throw a divider in there and put everything in
Exactly.
the oven by itself, and
Because
boom,
there's nobody who can tell me that they don't have time. I have 5 jobs, okay? I'm in a meetup group. I got a lot going on. And I know that I make time for things that I make time for. There's nobody who can sit here and tell me I don't have time to be vegan. I don't have it. And I'm like, I don't have time to be sick. That's what I always tell people. I don't have time to go to the doctor and be ill and take off work. I don't. That's it. So you can make time. You can figure it out. Just like how you brush your teeth every single day. You make time for that. You can make time for whatever you're interested in doing. You can do it.
Indeed, indeed. I think another takeaway from that is no excuses. I mean, it's one thing if you fall short and everything like that. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone has fallen short at some venture or anything that they've inspired to do in their life. But I mean, you get up, you get over it. You brush yourself off, you get right back to it. So I think a lot of times people kind of overreact when they, oh my gosh, I ate meat, don't know what I'm gonna do. They start crying and doing all this other stuff, and it's just like, okay, but like all this time that you're putting till your failure, like you need to like get back on it. Like life still goes on. So
Yeah.
Naliaka, what do you say to your clients? Because I know when a lot of people ask me questions, I'm not trained in any professional level, but what do you say to your clients when they want to eat better, or when they want to be fit? Because a lot of the time people will say, well, what are the breakfast ideas, and what do you do for this, and what do you do for that? And I'm like, what is your why? And my friend said this to me too, and he's a personal trainer. He's like, it doesn't matter how it's strapped, what is your why? Bring to it. So do you find yourself asking your clients this as well?
Oh yeah. At the gym where I work, we really have like a holistic approach to weight loss. You know, we do mindset meetings. We do meal plans. We do nutrition counseling. Where some gyms it's kind of like you just go in and you work out and you go home. And when people specifically ask me, what do? I always say the same thing. I say everybody's body is different. So what I do for me is not going to be the same thing that you do for you. You have to discover for yourself. Your body might not respond well to salt. Your body might not respond well to sugar. Your body might not respond well to fruit, right? Your body is totally different than my body. And so I can't tell you what your body needs to do. But what I can tell you is that be easy on yourself. And that's how, I transformed because I was overweight and I had high blood pressure. And that's what really, made me transform into this healthier lifestyle, which was also another reason why I wanted to stay vegan because it forced me to really look at fruits and vegetables differently, mostly vegetables differently. But I always tell people, be easy on yourself. When I became vegan, do you know how many times I messed up? Do you know how many times I cheated? Do you know how many times I was like, I really just want to eat this? And guess what? I just did it. And I think what happens a lot is the next day, you'll say, well, you know what? I already did this. Let me just keep going. You know what? Forget about it. But if you're easy on yourself, then it's like, you know what? I did that. I'm going to get back on right now. That's it. That was yesterday. Has nothing to do with today. Today's a new day, and this is what I'm doing today. That's what I always tell people. That's the best thing about fitness. At any point, you can make a decision to just change it. Period. So that's my advice, and that's what worked for me.
What would you say your major, that is great advice. What would you say your major why is, your reason why? I know you said because you wanted to get healthier. So if you can summarize exactly why you started this journey, what would you say?
My major why was 2 reasons. A, I didn't want to be having to take pills. So when the doctor said I had high blood pressure, I was like, oh, hell no. No, you can sit down. No. And then B, I don't want to be, and this is maybe super vain, I want to be a really good looking old person who's super agile. So I feel like I have to start now. So when I was in my 20s, I was like, well, I got to start now. I can't start when I'm 50. I have to start now. So that's my major motivating force. I'm like, I'm going to have a family. I'm going to have children. and I want to be agile and young and be able to do everything I want to do with my family without being sickly and being in hospital and things like that. That's my why.
Mhm. Mhm. So true.
Yeah, it definitely is, and people don't really. I think, especially young people, we don't really fully grasp the concept that people say life is short, but life is kind of long sometimes. And if you live to be a certain age, your body tends to get tired of your crap, and will shut down on you. So it's best to treat the
And
vessel
that's
that you have.
exactly why people die. It's like, people die of old age isn't because they're old, because their body is deteriorating. That's what happened. And so and so then for me, I'm like, I'm trying to make a decision. Do I want to be old and sickly, or do I just want to be like old and happy, and then just like transition? You know what I mean? And I try to tell people, I'm like, a lot of people who I know who are on this health journey, something happened to them. They either saw something, or the doctor said something, or they were diagnosed with something,
Mhm.
right? And I try to tell my clients, I was like, I don't want y'all to go through what I went through, because that was absolutely traumatizing for me to know that if I don't change what I'm doing, I'm going to die, right? That's not what the doctor told me, but like, I'm at risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, and you know what I mean? Like, that was an awful thing to hear, and I was only 24 years old at the time. That was an awful thing
Wow.
to hear. And I was telling people, I'm like, I don't want you to have to go through that, because most of these deaths in America are preventable through what you're putting into your mouth. Isn't that crazy? From what you're eating, you can prevent your own death or your own suffering or your own sickness.
Mhm. I think they become so comfortable with it. You see people, and you're just like, oh, my period's not regular. Oh, I have a headache. I don't know what that is. I think people find such comfort in it because they don't know the baseline of how it actually feels. There's a lot of people, and we're gonna have an episode on like body image, but there's a lot of there's in the Black
Oh, yeah.
community there's like where it's standard where it's okay to be a lot bigger. You're used to seeing these diseases, so you're just like, oh, hypertension, diabetes runs in my family, and then you're also like, you just become complacent because you don't know what it feels like to feel great, and even now, it's just me being at a lower
Right.
weight. Not that I feel like I don't know what my max will feel like, and I think that's one of my motivations, one of my whys, what I'll feel like when I'm in excellent health. But even now, I'm still shocked to be like, oh, I can wear a size 2, and I'm not a size 12 anymore, and I'm not like, you know, going through all these same things or, little things that we become comfortable with, we're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm meant to be big because my family's big, or like,
Yeah.
is it just something I
And I
get?
think that's like,
I just don't want us to be comfortable.
it doesn't have to be like that. And what I've learned, I read a lot, I study a lot, and everyone has their own ideas and their own opinions. But I'm constantly told, oh well, it runs in your family. There's nothing you could do, or that's what your parents like. That's just what it is. And I'm saying like that affects your psyche, and your psyche affects your cells, and your cells are the ones who are producing these diseases, or protecting
Mhm.
you, or producing your immunity. And so if you keep telling yourself that and believing that, then that's what it's going to be. I strongly believe that it's true. And I think that you can create your own path to health. And it doesn't matter, what your family, that doesn't have to be you. Just don't believe that. And you'll be surprised how switching your mindset can completely change your health journey.
You better preach that word.
And yeah, why not now? You know what I mean? Why not now? So I feel like we're in church and now we're doing the altar call or whatever. Why not now?
Right.
Like, I think a lot of the time I was like, I'm telling you, I was like, maybe for this summer, maybe for the next summer, maybe when I stop breastfeeding, or maybe this and that, or I want to do it for this and at this, and everybody's prepping for the future thing. But why not take the little steps, like you said?
Right
You may
now.
fall,
Yeah.
but take the little steps that you need to now, one by one, and then eventually you'll see results. Like, hang in there, but things will change when you make these little steps.
Exactly. And that was effective for me as well.
Oh man, I feel like we need to take up offering. So that is actually our time, but this was a great show. Great dialogue, and